Hello, my name is Bobby Reinhardt, and today I will be talking to you about the heroin epidemic in Ohio. Every day all around us, whether you know it or not, heroin is being used. You may have a family member, a co-worker, or a friend that's using heroin and not even know it. Ohio has been one of the hardest hit by this epidemic. Heroin is a highly addictive drug created from the opium plant. You may never know what's in a batch of heroin. It could be cut with all sorts of different types of things. The word cut in this case means something is added to the batch of heroin to stretch it longer so that the dealer can sell it to more people. Heroin can be cut with sugar, starch, or powdered milk. It can also be cut with poisonous materials that increase the risk of death. In September of last year, a dealer cut his batch of heroin with an elephant sedative in the Cincinnati area. Dealers have also been cutting heroin with fentanyl to stretch their supply. This has been reported by CNN. Heroin is mainly injected into the body, but it can also be smoked, snorted, or ingested orally. When a heroin user injects heroin into their veins, eventually the vein will collapse and they'll have to find a new vein, and after they run out of veins they'll turn to the other ways of smoking, snorting, and ingesting it. Addiction is a compulsion to repeat a behavior regardless of its consequences. According to musician Nikki Sixx, he himself overdosed 2 times and stopped breathing both times, but still craved heroin even though he knew it was killing him. An addict doesn't care what will happen to them as long as they can get whatever they're addicted to. Even after going to rehab to become clean from an addiction, an addict is likely to fall back into his or her old ways. Withdrawal happens when your body is dependent on something and it starts to crave whatever it is dependent on. Withdrawal is the main reason people cannot kick addiction. The withdrawal symptoms are a lot of the time unbearable. Some people can actually die from the withdrawal symptoms. Overdoses and deaths. Heroin use often leads to an overdose. Police officers and hospitals are equipped with Narcan to prevent death in most situations now. Narcan can reverse the overdose. Sometimes people are not found for days after an overdose, and that results in death. Overdose happens so often because people build tolerances and have to up the amount that they are putting into their body, and they do not know how much their body can withstand.
How many overdoses are there a day?
According to the Columbus Dispatch, 78 people in the United States die from opiate overdoses, and 28 of those are from heroin, and that happens daily. The addict is not the only one affected by their addiction. Family members and children and friends can all be affected too. Children can get into their parents' drugs while they're not paying attention and result in the child dying as well. Families grow different distance from drug users because the drug user is only thinking about themselves and their drug addiction. Lately, parents have been overdosing with their kids in the car. If you've been watching the news, there was that one picture that went viral of the parents slumped over in the front seats and the child in the back seat. In East Liverpool, Ohio, a couple overdosed while on the road with their 4-year-old in the back seat, and this was reported by KHQ News. In conclusion, it is very easy to understand the risks of these drugs, but so difficult to quit using these drugs. A person who does heroin gets taken over by heroin. Everything a heroin addict does depends on their addiction. All they think about is themselves and heroin, and when and how they're going to get their next high. The drug user is not the only one affected in any of these situations. It affects everyone around them and even their environment. Okay, thank you.